You were responsible for you.
Who cares?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Somebody's buying a house today. Somebody's selling.
800, I don't know.
Andy, thanks for joining us today. Can you explain to everybody and introduce yourself?
My name is Andy Mason. I'm with Nova Home Loans. Came to Nova in 2011, end of 2011. I've been doing mortgages since '98, so
Wow.
that'll explain the hair loss. But I was actually managing at Marley's downtown, Marley Sports Grill,
Okay.
and got into the industry kind of part-time. And then after one really good month in like 2001, I went to Dan Marley and his crew and said, I'm no longer in the Marley's business.
I'm done.
So I stayed there for a little longer, but really enjoy it because I like dealing with people. So, yeah.
So in 2001, you had a really good month. How were the months in 06 and 7 and 8?
Well, 6, 7, and 8 were crazy.
Yeah.
But, I've always taken care of people, so I never really looked at trying to make a home run on every deal when you were allowed to in 06, 07, 08.
Right.
So that kind of helps me now
Yeah.
because people like being taken care of.
Right.
They're not just another number. So, but the paychecks were different.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
I can attest for a lot of people, especially in the Northwest Phoenix market, that will probably recognize you at least by face. You're one of those guys that everybody knows.
Well, it's hard to miss my head, that's for sure.
Everybody knows you do a good business. You and I met kind of through a class that we worked together. It was fantastic. With you being in the industry as long as you have, I think we could do a 2-hour show on what have you seen in changes. But maybe in a couple little bullet points, what do you think has really changed the most, maybe in the lending side, but also in the agency side?
Lending's actually getting a little more, they're loosening up a little bit in lending. It still requires a lot of documentation, but if you're a W-2 employee, you don't need tax returns in a lot of cases. As far as it pertains to real estate agents, it's just all expectations and setting the right ones up front. If you have a good referring partner, and you know this from the loan side, and you set the right expectation with the agent, and the agent conveys that to the buyer, it's really not that complicated, really. But a lot of it's going tech and paperless. So I'm a pen and pad guy myself, but I've had to learn it because if I don't, I'm going to die out. You have to learn to be more technical. So,
do you think that it's the agency side that's driving the tech side, or is it? Because I know that in lending, people tend to be kind of used to what they do and they hate change.
yes.
The agents tend to want to change a little faster in today's industry. You think that kind of leads it?
I do, because being an in-house lender at a pretty good real estate company for a decade now, they don't even go in for checks anymore because the checks are just direct deposited. So I think people, especially the millennials, are all on their phones 24/7. Just driving down the street, you see people on their phone.
Sure.
So yeah, I think especially the millennial real estate agents, I think for sure the lending is trying to stay with them because that's how the majority of our business comes from that. So I think lending for sure is following suit.
Did you ever think of becoming an actual agent or a broker?
I actually took the test in 06.
Okay.
And I passed on my first try.
Okay.
It was a bet I made with another agent. She lost the bet.
Okay.
Probably not. I did consider it briefly, but I'm more, like I said, I'm more of a pen and pad, hands-on guy. That just wasn't my speed. So,
okay.
I respect what they do, especially now when it's 115, and they're out there and they could drive around for months and not get a deal. So I have a total respect for agents.
That's great. I know you sponsor a lot of continuing education courses throughout the Valley. What do you see as maybe the trends, or what fills your classes?
Your appraisal class was a home run. I haven't done enough of those. I do a lot of CE classes that pertain to credit. People like those because there's so many moving parts in credit. Agents, like I said, I think appraisals, after seeing yours, that's it was the summertime, close to it, but I think a lot of people love the appraisal because appraisals are really tough right now across the board because I think the market's correcting itself. So I think CE classes of appraisals are going to be my new focus. I'm going to start doing those once a month or more.
Very good, very good. If I was a person coming out of college and I said, all right, Andy, I know that you know what you're doing. You know a lot of people. I'm going to go either into lending or be an agent. What advice would you give me from knowing both sides as well as you do?
I would say be very patient and even get a part-time job just to keep the income coming in, because agents probably take longer to get moving because they can do, 1 or 2 deals a month, where, we can, once you get going, we can do upwards of 20 to 30 a month. But I would say stay patient and work hard, and don't set the right expectation for yourself, because you could do everything right and you could not get a paycheck for 6 months. But I would definitely say get a part-time job, work hard, be informed. Knowledge is king. But patience is by far the most important, especially for real estate agents, because everyone you talk to is a real estate agent.
Right.
I mean, everyone's a lender too, but depending on where you go and what company, they can feed you deals, and you can have a nice base and have income coming in, whereas an agent, you may not have a base, it's strictly commission. So my advice for that would really honestly just be very patient and set the right expectation.
So I'm seeing that as being kind of a consistent answer in a lot of the people that we've talked to, whether they're team owners, brokers, lenders, so on and so forth. But it sounds as though maybe regardless if you get into lending or if you get into the agency side, you've got to get your hands dirty. Expect that it's not just flashy TV, HGTV. It is show up, get your knuckles dirty. Is that kind of the same? Is that kind of what got you going?
Yeah, when I started, I went to Metro Center and passed out business cards, literally. And I had a job, man. I was managing at Marley's, but I didn't think, oh God, I'm gonna make 20 grand a month. And I wasn't that. I set the very right expectation up front.
Good.
Because if you don't roll up your sleeves, especially today, it's so competitive. Arizona, there's 880 people moving here a day, I saw. So, and it's all tech. And if you don't put yourself in the right position and get the right knowledge, it doesn't, any industry, but especially our industry, because it's so competitive. And the millennials especially, they're so tech savvy.
Yeah. With some of your guys, some of your agents that you work with exclusive on a partnership basis, undoubtedly you have those partners. But the ones that are out there killing it, what are they doing that's different than the ones that aren't?
A lot of handshaking, a lot of grassroots. I bring up tech a lot, but one thing I focused on is the handshaking and birthday card. A lot of things that people aren't doing away from the internet. And the agents I work with, I think the average ages is probably 35 to 50, and they've been doing it a long time, and they'll tell me the same thing. The first 3-5 years, they made no money, but they're consistent, they're available, and their service is impeccable, and they do a ton of handshaking, ton of lunches. They kind of stay away from the internet, if that makes sense, because they approach it a little differently because everyone's on it. Zillow or whatever, everyone's on the internet, and it's saturated. So the agents I work with there are a lot of grassroots, kind of like what I do.
Do you see many of the agents who are really killing it in being in their branding or in their marketing or in their social media?
Both. They're doing a lot. I don't go on Facebook and Twitter that much. I actually have an IT guy that I pay. He works a couple hours a week. But yes, agents are on there, because just an average conversation can turn into a deal. Like, look, I just love my job. I just closed this deal.
Yeah.
Somebody sees that on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever. They're doing both, because you have to have a presence in both. Because everybody does. Again, it is saturated, but they do a combination of the handshaking and the internet.
So the ones that are outside of the internet or even outside of the handshake are probably the ones, the 87% of the agents who don't make it 2 years.
They're not doing the right stuff.
Right.
You have to throw as much stuff against the wall as you can.
Okay.
You don't want to have, I call it organized chaos. You want to be organized, but you also want to, activity creates activity. You want to be strategic, but you have to continue to do it's like a boxer that perfects a punch.
Jab,
He
jab.
just didn't wake up one day and be a good jabber.
Right.
He did it thousands or a guy shooting free throws.
Right.
Same thing with that. If you got to be, and that's one thing I've done that agents are doing, is they're consistent. They constantly are doing the same thing over and over, and eventually that person goes, all right, fine, let's go. You're my agent. Let's go buy a house.
Right. If I throw 100 balls in the air, eventually one of them's got to hit somebody in the head.
And
Just keep throwing them.
Correct. In this town, it's so trendy.
Yeah.
And everyone is out. What's the next best thing? And if you're not consistently in front of them, you're gonna. I've sent out 4,000 business cards this year already.
Wow.
Just in the mail.
Wow.
So I have a different approach, and I think a lot of the agents I work with that do that, they constantly are, and a lot of them become friends with their clients, and that's really how. You've heard of Bobby Lieb.
Of course. Sure.
Go back to this day he started. I don't know him personally, but I have. That's how he did it. Church groups and sponsor. He just kept, and now he's a monster. So
absolutely. Well, a couple last questions we ask everybody on our way out, and kind of fun, lightened questions. If you weren't doing lending and you could pick anything in the world to do, what would you do?
Any answer goes here?
Any answer goes. As long as it's censored.
No, I won't swear. I'm Italian, but I'll keep it. When I was out of high school, I applied at NAU and UNLV, and I got accepted to the hotel restaurant management at both programs.
Okay.
And I wanted to be a pit boss. So,
Really?
Yeah, I did go to Vegas and try.
Italian thing, big guy.
I didn't get there.
Uh-huh.
I lived there 3 years, tried to get residency. It didn't work out. But that was totally my calling.
Yeah.
I actually auditioned at Sam's Town to deal cards. At that time I was going there, which is forever ago.
Yeah.
You could just walk up and deal, like audition.
Wow.
So that a pit boss was totally my. Yeah.
I can see you doing that.
I still think about it. It's pretty disturbing, but.
And on a little more serious note, is why do you do what you do? Why people say, what's your why? What's your why in doing lending and networking with all these people as much as you do?
Honestly, the freedom is important. I mean, the money's good. I'm not going to lie, but I love people. I love to deal with people. I mean, as I explained to you earlier before we started, it can get frustrating. Anything in life can. But I like the freedom. I like the people. I get great emails a lot. Hey, thanks for doing what you did. We've had a bad. That's the rewarding part. And like I mentioned, whether it's an $50,000 loan or $500,000, I approach the client the same way because it's a huge financial decision. And seeing people get their keys to their house, giving them a little housewarming gift, and it changes their life, and it means a lot. It does go. This business has ups and downs, but that part of it makes it totally worth it.
The enriching of others and their lives is kind of enriching yours.
Correct, because a lot of people get divorced, and it happens a lot, and people break up, and they go through a lot, and then become a single mom or single dad, and they want a house, and seeing them get in it, and them being so thankful, it's worth thousands of dollars. It's not even money. Right. It's just worth a ton of money emotionally, It's
great.
So that's what I enjoy most is watching people get where they want to be.
You can see in your face and your demeanor, so it's...
I'm very blessed. It's a great industry. Agents can be fickle, so as you know.
Yeah.
But I have a good core of agents, probably 50 of them that I've worked with for probably 10 years or longer. And we just get it, and they get it. And I'm like I said, I respect agents. So that's a tough gig.
Yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough for sitting down with us. It's in our Pro Advice series. We're talking to people like you all throughout town and just kind of getting their feedback on how to help agents get better. And if we can have anybody send any information to you at Nova Home Loans, that'd be great. So I appreciate your time.
Thanks,
buddy.
Anytime, buddy.
All right, take care.
Thanks.